when it comes to divorce, speaking of the opposite of congratulations, it's tough. It's tough on the whole family, and for parents, the goal is to make sure that the kids have a stable life, as stable as possible, given the big change. And one trend that's getting a lot of attention is called nesting, or bird nesting. It's taken from that. It's when kids live in the family home full-time, while the parents who are getting divorced, they take turns rotating in and out of the nest, hence nesting. Nearly a third of children in the U.S. see their parents getting divorced before adulthood, so this is a common thing. Nesting is a way to make things easier for them. Question is, how realistic is it in practice? Here to break it down is co-parenting specialist Christina McGhee. She's the author of Parenting Apart, How Separated and Divorced Parents Can Raise Happy and Secure Kids, and she joins us from her home in Texas. Christina, thank you very much for being here. I remember one of my neighbors, when I first moved to New York, they got divorced and they did this nesting thing, and it was the most novel thing I'd ever heard of. And now it is becoming more common, but why? What is the benefit of this? Because it sounds like a kind of a hassle for the two parents.
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits is while children are adjusting to divorce, nesting can create an emotional buffer for kids. Instead of everything changing all at once, kids have space to process this really big change of what's happening in the family in a place that feels safe for them.
So
it also can reduce the financial,
No, please, the
financial strain for families. Let's face it, right? Setting up two homes right out of the gate isn't realistic for a lot of families. Nesting allows parents to reduce some of the tension, both financially and emotionally. And they have time to kind of stabilize the financial situation, work on a plan for transitioning from one home to two.
But are they transitioning from one home to three? Like, is there the shared home, and then does each parent go back to their own apartment? Or are there cases where both parents share their apartment that they stay in when they're on their own?
So I think it really depends on what your financial resources are, but I think the vast majority, there is a family home where the children remain, and then there's maybe an apartment, or there's one other place where parents rotate back and forth. In some circumstances, I've seen parents sometimes stay with family members that are in the area as an option until they get through this interim period.
So, Christine, I can see why it would be good for the kids, but for the parents who are going through this emotional turmoil of divorce, what advice do you have for them? Because it's sort of like you're in the ghost of your former life. The house is still there, but the relationship is not.
Well, the truth is, nesting can delay healing, right? It doesn't magically erase all those old wounds, that history that parents have with one another. And so parents have to put real effort into changing how they interact, or the tension, the conflict is just going to persist. You may have a situation, for example, one parent may not want to end the marriage, and so they're clinging to hope and thinking maybe nesting can save things, while the other parents emotionally checked out, they're ready to move on with life, and they may feel trapped. And so that disconnect between parents can really just put the whole family in a holding pattern.
All right, Christina, thank you so much. I'd never heard of this, but it makes perfect sense.
It does.
I guess not for everyone, but for some families. Thank you, Christina.